Man, another day, Jenny, and we're still waiting for Aaron Rodgers to sign with the team, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, of course, we know Aaron Rodgers has stated that some personal issues have come into play in regards to what's going on with him and the delay in his football future. Now, the current quarterback room in Pittsburgh that consists of Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard. So there are reports out there from ESPN that if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign with the Steelers, then they're going to look to Kirk Cousins potentially as a contingency plan. So they got to kind of figure it out because things are rolling along as we're approaching this season. OTAs, those start tomorrow. Steelers mandatory minicamp, that starts June 10th. So if Aaron Rodgers does end up with the Steelers, what does it say that he's not with the team right now? Here's our guys Ryan Wilson and Rand Carthon breaking it down on With the First Pick.
But it feels like Aaron's just going to show up when Aaron's ready. Is that the best way to prepare for a season with a bunch of new teammates?
Absolutely not. And, I mean, the quarterback now, again, we don't know. There are things that happen that I'm not going to speak on, but there are things that happen, and maybe Aaron Rodgers is a little further along with this, Pittsburgh decision, nod, wink agreement, and even what the offense is. We don't know that. However, I think it speaks volumes for the rest of the team, for a guy that you're going to be counting on as your quarterback. He's not on the field with you right now when this is the time of year that you start to build a bond.
So let's welcome on Rand Carthon and Bryant McFadden, who knows a lot about the Steelers, of course, to talk about this. Rand, I want to come to you first because we know you feel strongly about this, about Aaron Rodgers not being there to kick off OTAs. So do you think that the Steelers are destined for failure maybe if they're starting this season off on this foot as it pertains to the quarterback position and Aaron Rodgers?
I definitely hope not. Just because, again, we're talking about one of the key positions in our league, right? And that's the quarterback position. And for most clubs, the quarterback is going to be your captain. And so what does that say about your captain and your supposed leader of your team, particularly your leader of your offense, if they're not there and they hadn't yet made a full commitment to being there part of this process with all the guys? And it's about being able to build timing. There are new receivers there, and he needs to be there to build rapport.
B-Mac, I want to come to you from a player perspective, especially because you've played under Mike Tomlin. You know the culture there in Pittsburgh. If you were on that team right now and Aaron Rodgers isn't there and you are missing that time for timing, for the bond, all of that, how do you feel about the situation as a player on the team right now?
You know what? Honestly, I would feel some type of way because this is the first part of structuring a playoff caliber team right now. OTAs. Now, granted, they're not mandatory, but you would like to have as many players there as possible, especially key components to your team. And we're talking about the quarterback position. So even if I played on the defensive side of the football field, I would feel some type of way, man, because if Cam Hayward is there, if Micah Fitzpatrick is there, if DK Metcalf is there, Pat Frymouth is there, we would like our quarterback to be there. And if you're not going to be there, tell us. And so the organization can move on. And this puts a lot of, blame on the organization for allowing this to carry out as long as it's been going. Me personally, because OTAs is a very, very significant part, especially for new members of the team. Aaron Rodgers played for the Jets a year ago. Now, granted, he has an abundance of experience, but this will be a new playbook that he will be walking into if he becomes a Pittsburgh Steeler. So these are valuable moments to get the reps, to create the chemistry and the rhythm that you would like to have once the season starts.
And gentlemen, we always talk about, or at least for the last couple of months, what is the ceiling for this Steelers team if Aaron Rodgers is under center, if he is the quarterback? Now we're here just a day removed from OTAs kicking off. Rand, I'll come to you first here, and you're looking at the schedule. What do you think the ceiling is, the overall outlook for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers kind of up in the air, and you consider the current quarterback room with Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard?
Say with Aaron Rodgers under center in Pittsburgh, you gotta almost can bank it that it's going to be another winning season. Now, what does that look like? Is that a 9-win season? Is that a 10-win season or a 10-win season plus? We don't quite know. But I would say if Aaron Rodgers is under center, it gives them the best chance to have a winning record. You know, no offense to the other guys that they have there on the roster, but those guys are more, you know, backup, stopgap starter, get you through a couple game stretch here or there, but not guys that are going to be built for the long haul of an NFL season and get you to your desired place, which is a shot in the tournament for a chance to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm right there with Rand. I think with Aaron Rodgers, I realistically see 9 to 10 wins, 10 being best case scenario. I think without Aaron Rodgers, if Mason Rudolph is the guy moving forward, I see best case scenario 9, potentially 8, 7 wins. So that's not a drastic in a gap of separation when you look at numbers. But clearly, if you win 9, 10 ball games, you have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. And if you win anything below 9, based on how competitive the league has been, you probably will be on the outside looking in. So those would be my realistic numbers for with Aaron Rodgers or without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, we just saw the odds there to win the AFC North. The Steelers sitting around plus 550, but we know Mike Tomlin, we know that he's never had a losing season. So now, gentlemen, there's a new report that is out from ESPN based on conversations that were had during the NFL league meetings that Kirk Cousins is at the very least on the Steelers' radar as a possible contingency plan if Aaron Rodgers does not work out. Rand, what is your thought on this, on the Steelers having a contingency plan and maybe kind of like, hey, why wait if you have Kirk Cousins, who is there, who lost a starting job in Atlanta? We've seen flashes of what he can do. Why not just pivot now versus waiting on Aaron Rodgers?
As crazy as this might sound, it may be easier to sign Aaron Rodgers at this point than to get something done with Kirk Cousins, because you have to take into account, you have to meet Atlanta's trade value in what they're probably looking for in terms of compensation there. But then you also have to be able to fit Kirk Cousins' cap number under your cap. So that's a whole nother dynamic that you have to work through, because now are you asking Atlanta to take on a portion of that salary? And if so, then that's going to increase the compensation for the draft. And are you willing to do that? Are you willing to eat the high cap number that he carries? So those are all a bunch of different things that have to be worked out, and that takes time, and you're much further along at this point with your conversations with Aaron Rodgers.
So, you know, Rand gave us the business side with this potential Kirk Cousins, Pittsburgh Steelers relationship. I'm going to give the field side from my perspective. How much better is Kirk Cousins right now, who will be 37 once the season starts, than the best option for Pittsburgh and Mason Rudolph? When I look at the numbers with Kirk Cousins, he threw 18 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. I mean, his last 4 or 5 starts were horrendous. Now, Mason Rudolph didn't blow you away either, but you look at what was surrounding Mason Rudolph, a lot of nothing. Let's keep it real. So now if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, to your point, Rand, to go get Kirk Cousins, you have to give up something. Remember, they have a lot of draft capital they gained this past year's draft to hopefully build towards the future. If you're the Atlanta Falcons, you're looking at some of those outstanding picks the Pittsburgh Steelers have, not to mention the financial side as well, in terms of Pittsburgh eating the bulk of that contract that Kirk Cousins is guaranteed this season. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, does that make any sense? Because if you're bringing in Kirk Cousins, do you really believe he can drastically improve the chances for your team offensively to be what you need to be to win ball games? I don't know. So the unknown is very, very scary in this situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you don't get Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if you should jump the gun to try to make something happen with Kirk Cousins. Let's see it play out throughout training camp. Let's see it play out throughout preseason, because you drafted Will Howard in the 6th round. Many people feel like he's a potential guy that can really show flashes of being a starting quarterback at some point in time. Let's see what he has, but I wouldn't be one to say instantly, let's go ahead and try to see what we can get for Kirk Cousins. Let's see it play out throughout camp, and then there lies the opportunity to see if we need to make a move or we can stay put and just go ahead and roll the dice.
Yeah, we're talking about, you know, a lot of quarterbacks here coming off Achilles injuries, 1-2 years removed from that, potentially, you know, being the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. B-Mac, Rand, we certainly appreciate it, as we're all still waiting to see what the future holds for Aaron Rodgers. Now, we showed that clip of Rand and Ryan Wilson on With the First Pick. A lot more conversations where that came from. Just check out their podcast, CBS Sports' year-round draft podcast. You can download, follow, listen wherever you listen to your favorite pods, or you can watch right now by scanning that QR code on your screen.
It is Monday, which means new power rankings are out. Let's take some stock of the contending landscape in Major League Baseball. That is next on HQ.